This video is going to look at file management on the iPad and how you actually transfer documents like PDFs, videos, music, photos in and out of the iPad using what we're going to use is the Goodreader app. So this is my Goodreader app, and on the left hand side, scroll up and down, are some of the documents that I've actually transferred in from another source like my Dropbox or Google Drive, or taken off my computer or my network attached storage, or downloaded from the internet. So some of it's there's not a whole lot there, and they're not really sorted that effectively. The more files that you generate into Goodreader, the more important it is to become more organised. So putting in folders and actually organising everything within a folder. So let's start with looking at how to manage the files that are already there. There is on the right hand side the different sections that you can look at in your Goodreader. So I can find files, and we'll look at all those in turn. But I just want to start with managing files. Now when you tap that, managing files, let's do it again. On where all the files are, you'll notice there's a little circle there, and you can actually select the file that you want to manage, file or files. So say it was this one. I could tap that, and there's all the things that I can do with that selected file. Star at me indicating that I want to focus or feature this one. So let's just star some of the Evernote ones for a little bit later. And as long as it's selected, I can do something with it. Although with starring, I could star anything without having selected it. I can mark it as read or unread. To protect it, I need to actually, in the settings, put in some sort of password security. So protected means putting in a password for accessing that file, and I actually haven't done that protection setting, so I can't demonstrate that one. I can upload that file to either a cloud storage solution or to my computers, whatever I've connected in the servers section. Put it into, I can create a new folder and then move that file into that folder, create a new text file, can email this file, so the one that's selected, if I hit the email and just send the file as it is, it's going to open up the email program on the iPad with the file attached, and then all I have to do is put my message and indicate who I want to send it to. So let's delete that. Select the manage files again and hit that one. I can rename it. So if I tap that and rename the file, and I really don't want to change too much of it, so I'll just do that and put in a colon and a space. It renames it. There it is there, rename the file. If there was a URL, I could use that to copy it to the clipboard. I don't use that one. I can open it in another app. So sending the file as is, and open it in any app that will be able to read that PDF file. So I might want to go and open it in Adobe Reader, and as soon as I tap that, Adobe Reader will open and that file will appear in there, where I can edit it and annotate it and do whatever I want to with it. So let's get back out of that. Into Goodreader. Manage files. So if I wanted to create a new folder to put, there's a few Evernote files. There's at least 3 of them here on Evernote PDFs. So really they should go into a folder. So let's create a new folder and call it Evernote. And done. And there's the folder. And now I want to move those 3 files into that folder. So then I need to tap Manage Files, select the files that I want to move, and there's the 3rd one, and move them into the Evernote folder. And if I just tap on the blue, it should be enough to open that folder, and then move 3 items into it. Click, tap Done. The Evernote folder is there, and the files are also in there. Now if I want to do something with the files in that folder, again I just tap Manage Files. I'm inside that Evernote folder and I can do whatever I need to. You can zip files. So if there was a few files that you wanted to send off to somebody else, but they were too large to go in one email. So there's 3 pictures here. I can hit Manage Files, tap the 3 together, and then compress them, put them into one file, so zip them up. And that is done, and it's called a, let's see if it's the right one, archive zip. So it's there they are there. That's the file. And I would rename that one because archive zip is really very vague, so I might rename that file and call it the cats. So I know what that zip file is, so there it is there, the cat zip. So I could go off and email that. It's down to 2.8 megs now instead of what it was here. It's a little bit less, but you can zip. And then if I was to download a compressed file, a zip file, either a zip or a RAR file from the internet, and in Goodreader, just tap on it, it will offer to unzip it for me. So unzipping it. And it actually puts it into a folder while it unzips it. If I don't want that folder, manage the file. If I don't want that folder, I can tap on it and I can delete it and delete the folder. Done. So manage the file. So there is a lot you can do by managing the file. So you can copy a file also. So if I want to copy this song, copy it. And I can copy it to a different place. Copy it here. So it's still in wherever I copied it to. Can't remember. Done. Let's get rid of that. Where did I copy it to? There, into there. So it's copied there, but it's still there. So you can move a file. You can also copy a file into a different location. So all it is to manage your file is to tap the Manage File section and select the file that you want to do something with, and then you've got all those options there, and then done. Sorting the file, there's a sort button up here. You can sort them by name, as these are. They're sorted by name. Sort by dates, which puts the, should go back there, the most recent ones at the bottom and the older ones at the top. All the folders come first. The only thing that I'm not quite happy with is that the date that it uses is the date that that file was produced. So the amazing.mp3, which is the file I just added in today, which was added into the iTunes server in 2006, and that's the date that Goodreader is using. I want this to be sorted by the date that that file arrives in my Goodreader inbox. So to me, that's not very useful. And size, I don't really think that's very much use to me either. So I keep them sorted by name. Now, where do you get your files from? There are is another section here called Connect to Servers, and you can get your files directly from a place you've stored them. So cloud storage, like, if we can add to see the range. Dropbox, Windows SkyDrive, Google Drive, Box.net. All those are free cloud storage solutions. You can sign up for an account for each of those and receive some free space, generally plenty, that you can upload and download and store and back up your files to, whatever it is. You can also add a Mac computer, like an iMac or a MacBook or a MacBook Pro, by adding an AFP server. And we'll look at that in a second. If you wanted to add a Windows computer, then you're adding a SMB server. And we'll look at how to do that in a second as well. What else can you add? And I really haven't played with the others. We can add mail servers. I just don't see the need for reading my mail in here, so I haven't bothered with that. If you're actually using the SugarSync synchronizing and backup storage, you could directly sync to SugarSync, which I'm not using. FTP servers, a WebDAV server. I really haven't used any of those, but they're pretty simple to actually add. So I have an account with Box. So at the moment, the servers I've got on there, I've got a SkyDrive account and a Google Drive account. I've connected my MacBook Pro, my network attached storage, so that's a Windows box, my Dropbox account, and I'm going to add my box.net account. So all you need to do to add it is give it a name, so it's box, whatever your username for your account is, and I think that's my email address and the password. So these are the credentials that I have when I signed up for Box, and then I want to add that server. And it should, and then save. I think. Save. That's all. And as soon as you save it and tap it again, it's now going out to Box just to ensure that the authentication is accurate, and it's now connected to my box.net account online, and there are the files that I have inside that account. Now I can now upload files to that account. I can download files from that account, or any of them. Just close that. So if I wanted to upload a document that's in my Goodreader to Box, so say I wanted to let's just go to Manage Files first of all. I want to upload this picture to my Box account. So I manage the files, tap Manage Files, select the file that I want to upload, and there is an upload button inside the Manage Files. I want it to go to Box. I've already given my authentication details, so it should just immediately connect to it. And there is an upload button, and I'm going to upload it, the picture, so you can select the file. I've got the opportunity to select more if I want to. Just want that picture to go, and I'm going to upload that item. And now it's uploading, and the time will depend on the size of the file that you're uploading and the speed of your internet connection. Upload speeds are not as fast as download speeds. This is only a small file, so it's not going to take too long. And then it'll process that. So that picture, which is, there it is there, there's the picture, is now up in Box. So I can close that. If I want to download something from one of those servers and connect to the server, so I want to get something from SkyDrive, and find a file, so PowerPoint, just one of these, loading the folder, text file, tap the file I want to download, and there's the download button, and I can put where I want it to be downloaded to. So if I want it to go into a folder, I could tap the folder that I want to download that file to, or if I didn't want it put in a folder, just download it here. And close that. Now you can see on the right here that that file is now downloading from SkyDrive. Oh, now there it is there, which one is it? The multitasking gestures. So it's downloaded already and should be on the right here. There it is there, multitasking gestures. So it's there. And if it's a text file, then it will open, to view it, it gives you a text editor. So there's a basic text editor. So you can read files in Goodreader, and to bring back all the tools, just tap in the middle of the screen. These are all the files, the documents that are open. I can close them all one by one. Picture, the cat. Go back to multitasking gestures. There's not a lot you can do in the text editor. And there are some text tools down here. Tapping the screen will bring that back. My documents will take you back to all the files. If I do not want that file, I want to open that file in something else, and I manage the file. Select the file, open it in another app. So opening it in any other app that can deal with text files, so I can work on it a little bit more. Or I can delete it, which is what I'm going to do. Delete the file, because I don't want that done. Now the other servers there, if you want to connect to a Mac computer, and if I go into the settings on this one, all you're required to put in to connect to a computer, an AFP computer, and AFP is the protocol that Apple and Mac devices use to share files. Apple File Protocol, I think it's called. And to share, if you're on a Mac computer, and you go into your system preferences and into sharing, and you need to have enabled file sharing. And in the shared folders, what exactly are you sharing? And in this case, I'm just sharing my documents folder with myself, as myself has read and write access. I can look at everything, but this is the information you want. That's the IP address that any other device, Mac device, will need to be able to access this computer. That's the IP address. You need to have the AFP in there, all of it. And then for Mac, that's all you need to do. And you can see it's all I've done is put that IP address, and the .10 is the IP address of this MacBook Pro. Inside my wireless network, this will work. I won't be able to, if I'm not in my house and I want to get a file from my MacBook Pro, well, obviously the MacBook Pro is not going to be with me. I can't use it, which is why the cloud storage is more effective, because you don't have to be inside your wireless network or in your home to be able to access your information. You do, in some cases, need to put in the user and the password. I found for the connecting to my computer, I don't need to do that. And then you save it. So if I want anything in my MacBook Pro, I can go onto the blue arrow. Actually, not on the blue arrow. The blue arrow changes the settings. Just tap the actual server, and it'll open up my connection to my computer inside the documents folder. Now I need to hit the arrow, and they're all the documents folders that I can actually go into by tapping the blue arrow. If I just tap that, it selects that folder, and I can set up a syncing arrangement. If I want a file from that folder, I have to tap the blue arrow, and that takes me inside that folder where I can select all the documents and then close it. If it was a Windows computer you wanted to connect to, and this one here is a network attached storage box. It's got Windows, a Windows protocol, and to connect to that, so that's sitting on the network, and I can access files on and off from that. There are two drives. There's volume 1, there's volume 2, so 2 disk drives inside that NAS box, always on, not connected to any particular computer. But to set that one up, to connect to that, I needed to just know what is the IP address of that NAS box. If it was a Windows computer that you wanted to connect to, then you would have to have in front of that the SMB : / so you would have to be, if it was a Windows computer, just edit this one, edit this one. And I don't know if it's going to, oh yeah, it will work. It would have to be SMB. This is the Windows file and save. The Windows file sharing is SMB, which it didn't even work there. I have to set that up at the beginning, I think. And it didn't actually work for me that way, because I don't have a Windows computer, but that is what you would do to connect a Windows computer. And I needed to put in my authentication, so my username, my password to actually access that Windows computer. I've found Windows a bit problematic in connecting computers too. And if you find that, use the cloud storage, or the other way that you can connect to an actual computer to send files across is using, and you're inside your wireless network, is using this wireless connection down here. If you are on your wireless network, it gives you an address. So if I was to type that IP address into a browser, I would be able to connect my computer, so I'm on my laptop, connect to my computer to my iPad and transfer files one by one. It's a little bit slower. So let's try that, going into a browser. And it's actually there, but let's just get rid of it and do it again. So putting in the address exactly as is on the iPad. So I'm looking at, where are we? Putting in this one. That's the address there, because the iPad is telling me that's what you need to enter. So the whole thing. And the IP address is the IP address of the iPad with a port after it. And this is now connecting my laptop, the browser. I'm using Chrome, but it would work in Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Mac or Windows, I've now connected my computer to my Goodreader app. So I could see if I clicked in my documents, there are all the documents that are on the, go back to have a look here, stop that. There are all the documents there on the left. All those documents there are the ones that are showing up here. Now if I want to add a new one, I can only do it one by one, so I need to choose a file, which will take me into my Finder, or if you're on your Windows computer, into your Documents. So I'm in the Documents, I just find a file I want to send across, so open the folder. Find a document, so perhaps that one. Open. And now that's the file there that I want to transfer to my Goodreader. So I can now upload that file, and that should have gone across already. So Apple Apps, I think it was called, iPad Apps. That's the one, because at the moment, we look at the time, it's 10:44. So that's the right one there, 10:43. So that's the file. So it has transferred across. You can only do it one by one. You can actually create a folder. So new files. Create a directory. And that creates a new folder for you there. And then you can add them in one by one. It's just a bit slow this way. There is another way, and I'll put some links up on the screen in a second, which comes from the Goodreader site, which involves connecting your Windows device or your Mac device as a server. And I'll put that link up now. You can download files directly from the internet into Goodreader and read them in Goodreader, or edit and annotate them if they are PDFs. And there are two ways you could do it. You can go directly to a website. So let's go to out of Goodreader and into the browser, Safari, and find a file. So go to a website where I know there's a PDF. So this is the class website. And there is a file in here on the course outline for beginners iPad. So here's the link to it. Download the course outline. So on a website, should you find a PDF, the PDF will download into Safari. So I can read it while I'm in Safari. But if I want to do something with that file and tap on the screen there, I can either open that file in another app, so open in. I could open it in Adobe Reader, for example, which has some basic editing, or I could open it in Goodreader. I can't leave it in Safari, because as soon as I close Safari, that file will go. If I close that tab in Safari, that file will go. If I want to keep it, then I'm going to open that file in Goodreader. So it immediately takes me into Goodreader, downloads the file, and sends me into the reading pane, where there are some editing tools. So particularly for PDFs, there are, and if I take that cross off, what you'll see is this. So if you tap the middle of the screen, it brings up some editing tools. There's a little pin here. If I tap that pin, those editing tools will remain. So if you're wanting to edit PDFs, and I can pinch and zoom and make that bigger, if I wanted to, for example, highlight or edit this PDF, as soon as I tap an editing tool, it's going to bring up this message. It's the first time I've modified that file. Do you want to save the annotations that you're going to do to the original file, or create an annotated copy? And usually I do that. So if I stuff up something on this file, I've still got the original. So I want to highlight something, and I think I like a green. So I'm just holding my finger over what I want to highlight, and then save it. And if I tap over it again, I can then change the colour and open it and delete it. So there are there are all sorts of editing tools there in Goodreader, and that will be the subject of another video, I think, not today. Tapping in the middle. These are all the documents that I have open. So there was another one there already, a picture that I had open, so I can close them all down. And there's some other editing tools along the bottom, so that will be the subject of the next video. How do you edit PDFs in Goodreader? To go back to your documents, just tap the middle of the screen, go back. So there's the file there. I go to Manage Files. That's the file there. And now I could put that into a folder, or I could delete it, or I can star it, whatever I want to do with it. Finding files, I've done that. Find files. And you can find all the starred files, so you can see all the ones I starred before come up. If I wanted to find it by name, and I want to find the file called Amazing, which is the MP3. And remember, that was the one I copied before. So there's two versions of it, so I can go to that file and it will immediately start playing it. It plays MP3s, it plays MP4, so it'll play videos, it'll play MP3s. There's a video here, MP4, so it plays the MP4s, turn the sound down, plays MP4s as well. The other way to find files, recently read files, and there's quite a lot there. Recently added, so it sort of might solve my problem with the sorting. Starred files. So you can find files quite simply. The other way to download a file is actually going into the web download, browsing the web, or actually entering a URL if you actually know of a file. So if we go browse the web, and that's the actual website that we looked at before, Technology Fueled, go, and let's download a different app. So getting to know your iPad. If I tap that, I get an option. I can actually follow that link, which is what I want to do. There's nothing to download in that link, so I'm going to follow the link, which takes me to that page. And here's the file we want, list of suggested apps here. So I want to download that one. So tapping that file, I download the linked file. The download has started, so I can go back to Documents, and in the downloads and downloads in progress, in the middle there, is the file. It's already finished downloading. There it is there. It's in the download section. It's probably put it, iPad apps over here anyway. It's there. But I could go into the downloads and manage the files and move it around and copy it and rename it and do whatever I want to do. Or I could delete it, so I'm going to delete it. In the web downloads, these are all the downloads I've recently downloaded, and they no longer need to be there, so I can trash them all. Now, if you had an actual URL with a PDF, so if I went back to their website, Safari, and that's the actual URL there of that file, the whole thing, so let's copy it, select all, and copy that URL. That's the URL for this beginner's course outline. Go back to Goodreader and enter the URL of that document. Paste it in. OK. And that's now going to download that PDF. You can see it there. So if you know of the actual URL of a PDF file, or any other file, any other document you want to download, doesn't have to be PDF. It's now downloaded it. It's in the download section, and now I can read it and move it all around, or manage it and delete it. Delete, and back into the web downloads and delete it out of the downloads.